Hi, welcome to another mathematics lesson. My name is Kingsley Linus. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at the topic addition and subtraction. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to carry out addition and subtraction of positive integers. You should also be able to state the place value of each number in the sum or difference. And lastly, you should be able to draw and use number line to illustrate directed numbers. In this lesson, there are three important terms you need to know: integers, natural numbers, and whole numbers. Now, what are integers? Integers are positive or negative whole numbers. Whole numbers are numbers that do not have fractions or decimal. And then natural numbers are our usual counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. These three terms are related in this manner. First, we have natural numbers. That is our counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And when we include a 0 to the natural numbers, it becomes whole numbers. So natural numbers with the inclusion of 0 become whole numbers. And lastly, when we have both negative and positive whole numbers with the inclusion of 0, we call that integers. Another name for integers is directed numbers because they have a sign attached to them. When I mean a sign, it's either a positive or a negative. So this sign tells us what direction to locate the number, either in the positive direction or in the negative direction from 0, our origin. We are going to learn more about this when we get to the number line. But before we get there, let's look at some examples on addition and subtraction. The instruction says, solve the following: 56 plus 33. Of course, I'm sure 56 plus 33 is not difficult for you. The important thing here is your proper arrangement of your numbers. So let's add 6 plus 3 gives us 9. And 5 plus 3 gives us 8. So 56 plus 33 gives us 89. For our next example, after arranging our numbers, we can go ahead to add 7 plus 2 plus 7. That gives us 16. So we write down 6, carry 1. Now, 1 plus 4 plus 5, that gives us 10, plus 3, that is 13. So we write down 3, carry 1. And 1 plus 1 gives us 2. So our answer is 236. Now, to the next question. Here we are doing subtraction. After arranging our numbers, we can start subtracting. The first number we have is 2 minus 3. Of course, 2 is less than 3. So what do? I'm sure you've learned this before now. But as a reminder, we go to the next significant figure, which is 5, and we borrow a 1. So 5 is now left as 4. And then we bring a 1. This one becomes a 10. So 10 and 2 gives us 12. Now, 12 minus 3 gives us 9. So we are left with 4 here. 4 minus 7 is not possible. So we go again to the next significant figure, which is 5. We borrow a 1, and we have 5 left as 4. So we bring our 1 here, as usual. It becomes 14. 14 minus 7 gives us 7. Again, 4 minus 6 is not possible. We borrow another 1 from 8, leaving 8 as 7. And then we add the 1 here. It becomes 14. 14 minus 6 gives us 8. And lastly, 7 minus 5 gives us 2. So this is our answer for this subtraction. Now, we have a very special situation here. 79 minus 158. Of course, the number 79 is less than 158. So we'll find it difficult subtracting 158 from 79. The easiest way to go about this is to reverse the numbers. That means having 158 above 79. Having exchanged the position of the numbers, we must note that whatever answer we would have would carry a negative sign. So 8 minus 9, 8 is still less than 9. We go to the next significant figure, which is 5, and borrow a 1. That 1 makes 8, 18. So 18 minus 9 gives us 9. And then we are left with 4 here. So 4 minus 7, of course, it's not possible. So we borrow the 1 left here and bring it to 4, and it becomes 14. So 14 minus 7 gives us 7. So our answer to this question is minus 79. So whenever you have this situation where a larger number is being subtracted from the smaller number, you can make it easy for yourself by exchanging their positions, subtract them, and then adding a negative sign. Now let's move on in this lesson as we look at place value of digits. Before now, you must have learned about place value. Place value is simply the value of a digit or the worth of a digit based on its position. Another name for place value is positional notation. I'm sure you can also remember your thousand, hundred, tens, and units. And for a situation where you have decimal numbers, you can have thousand, hundred, tens, units, tenths, hundreds, thousands, and so on. Now, let's look at some examples showing us the place value of some digits. 7, standing alone, simply means 7 units. And when we have 70, our 7 becomes 7 tenths. But in the number 700, 7 becomes 7 hundredths. And in the number 7,000, our 7 here now stands for thousand, 7 thousands. So in the same way, we have some examples. We are expected to find the place value of 3 in the following examples. This is our 3 here. The position of 3 here, of course, you know, this is units, tenths, hundred, and thousand. So we have 3 thousands. We're also looking for the place value of 3 in this number. Our 3 is positioned here. We have units, tens, and hundred. So 3 hundreds. And lastly, we have our 3 positioned here. This 3 is 3 units. So that is 3 units. Let's go on as we look at more examples. The instruction says, identify the place value of all the 5s in the following. Now, we have these numbers, and we're expected to identify the place value of all the 5s in each of them. To solve these problems, these examples are problems we have solved before now, but we are just interested in finding out the place value of the 5s. The place value of this 5 is simply 5 tenths. Here, we have another 5 under the tenths position. You can see it's under the tenths position. So, we have 5 tenths as well. In this question, we have 3 5s. 1, 2, 3. So for this first 5, the position is 100. And for the second 5, the position is 5 tenths. And then for this last 5, the position is 5 thousandths. And lastly, we have just one 5 in this example. The position of this 5 is tenths. So we have been able to identify the place value of all the 5s in the following. Earlier on in this lesson, when I talked about integers, I mentioned we are going to learn about the number line. The number line is a vertical or horizontal line in which numbers are represented. Usually, we have positive numbers to the right and negative numbers to the left. It is also important to note that a number line can be used to carry out simple addition and subtraction. Let's look at what a number line looks like. This is an example of a typical number line. On the number line, when we move in this direction, just like our arrow indicates, it means we are increasing in magnitude. So the value of -6 is less than the value of -1. And of course, you know, 1 is less than 7. So as we move rightwards, we actually increase in magnitude. Also, when you have a negative number, for example, -5, this indicates that we have to move 5 steps. That means from 0, we move 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's what -5 means. And that is also why it is a directed number. Now, let's see some examples that tell us how to locate numbers on the number line. The instruction says, illustrate the location of each of the following integers on a number line. We have -4, 3, and -1. Now, to locate our number -4, we move from 0, that is like the origin, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and the 4th step. So we have -4. And for the next question, we have 3. Now, when you have 3 standing alone, that tells you that it is a positive number. So we move from our origin, 0, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and we are at 3. And for the last example, -1. From our origin, we just move 1 step to the negative direction, and then we have -1. So you can see the blue point indicating the positions we are expected to locate on the various number lines. This is how we locate numbers or integers on the number line. Having learned so much in this lesson, I would like you to try out these questions. Pause the video and try the questions. I'm sure you are done. The instruction says evaluate the following. Number 1, 3,482 plus 576. If you properly set out your numbers, your answer should be 4,058. Question 2 says 293 minus 742. Now, did you observe that you are taking a larger number from a smaller number? Now, it is quite easy, just like I taught you earlier. What you should do is to have the bigger number on top of the smaller number, do your subtraction, and then add a negative sign. Well, if you have done that correctly, the correct answer should be -479. That is -479. Question 3 says, what is the place value of 3 in 3,482? Now, this is the 3 we are being asked of. Units, tens, hundred, thousand. So the place value of 3 is 3,000. And lastly, draw a number line and locate -5. It is quite easy to do. We simply draw a line, locate our origin, 0, and then locate our point, -5. With all these, we've come to the end of this lesson. But before you go, let's take a quick summary of all we've learned so far. First, we learned that integers are positive and negative whole numbers, excluding fractions or decimals. We also learned that integers are also called directed numbers because they are either positive or negative, and this tells us the position of such digits on the number line. Furthermore, we learned that the place value of a digit is the value of that digit based on its position in a given number. And lastly, we learned that the number line is a horizontal or vertical line on which numbers are represented. I'm sure this was an interesting lesson, right? Now, I have some test questions for you. Question 1 says, evaluate 27 minus 45. Option A, 18. Option B, negative 18. Option C, 81. Option D, negative 81. The correct answer is option B, negative 18. Question 2 says, set out the numbers properly and add 1,422, 45, and 199. The correct answer is option B. And the last question, locate the numbers 7 and negative 5 on a number line. The correct answer is option C. So this is where I leave you for this lesson. Till we meet again in the part 2 of this lesson. Bye-bye.